Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm going to do some Fenty Beauty Foundation updates. I want to tell you what I think so far, and also, if you're new here, welcome. Please subscribe, become one of our bells, and hit that notification button. I'm just saying that because everybody says that. Give me a thumbs up if you like, and leave me a comment and tell me what you think about the Fenty Beauty Foundation if you've tried it. I do have very dry skin, and I live in the desert where it's very dry and it's also very hot. And I've been wearing this, checking for colors and checking for the wear off and on for a couple of weeks. The first color I bought was 210. I felt it was a little bit light for me. It felt like it would be a perfect match for in the winter. This color is 260. It's also a neutral color. I've been wearing this for, let me see, probably 6.5 hours right now, and this is holding up really well. It does accentuate wrinkles a little bit. I have some texture here on my skin where I have a condition where I get really bad breakout kind of thing if I eat gluten, so I have it all around my mouth, unfortunately, but it's caused a lot of problems. Anyway, I have the texture all over my chin, but I didn't even use concealer down there today. I just put on the Fenty foundation, and I think it looks really great. I use my Armani primer that I use most of the time. It's Master Something Primer. It gives me a little bit of glow. Not really noticeable, but I feel that it enhances my skin to not look quite so dry. You can get just about the same effect from the Milani, the glowy primer. I think it's called light primer or something, but that will give you more of a glow. I did powder lightly on my nose and a little bit in the middle of my forehead because I felt like lately my forehead's been breaking up a lot with the foundation, and so I powdered a little bit there. I didn't use much powder anywhere else except for my powder products, like, you know what, blush and highlighter. I feel like you don't need to powder to set this, and it wears a lot better than most other liquid foundations I've worn. When you first put it on, it is gorgeous. It is a beautiful finish. I mean, it's an awesome finish, and it does settle a little bit. It does break up a little bit, but overall I think it is a really long wearing foundation. I don't know if you can get through a full 8 hours of work without touching up, and again, I don't know how it will work for oily skin. This is supposed to be a matte foundation, but I find it to be more of a semi-matte. People are saying that it oxidizes on the skin. I don't see it oxidizing. Oxidizing would mean it would turn more orangey and it would turn a totally different color on your skin. I don't find that to be true. I find that just like with any other foundation, it looks a little bit different on the skin than it does in the bottle. I don't see it oxidizing. It does dry, like if you do swatches, it'll dry a little bit darker, but just a little bit. I mean, you could find your exact match on your skin wet, and it would still work for your skin dry. So I don't find that to be a problem. Doesn't happen with me. I don't know if it happens with oilier skin tones, but I'm not having that problem at all. I think it's a beautiful finish, even for aging skin. Well, let's face it, everybody's skin is aging, but even for what they call mature skin, and that is the only mature thing about me is my skin. So, but even for mature skin, I think the finish is just gorgeous, and I just don't feel a need to powder. Not that I ever usually powder very much, but I usually use like finishing glow powder all over, and I forgot to do that today. And I mean, we've been everywhere. It's 100 degrees outside. We went and we looked at the wild ponies. They're so cool. We have a bunch of wild ponies that live right down a couple miles from us, and they're beautiful, and you'll see pictures of them on my Instagram, my Snapchat. But we like to go out there and look at them, and I climb down little I like to climb down little trails to get to the river because they spend a lot of time in the river. So, you know, I'm out there huffing and puffing in 100 degrees, and my foundation wore brilliantly. And I've just been sitting here filming in front of these lights. My foundation has worn really well. I'm pretty impressed. Let's do the mirror test, the close-up, like the 400 times mirror. That's pretty good. The only thing I'm having a problem with, that I always have a problem with, is my mascara smudging a little bit. I'm trying a new mascara and it doesn't smudge as much as anything else. It's Jessie's Girl and I'm pretty happy with it. I've also found that if I do use concealer, it is better with this foundation to spot... Okay, I do this all backwards because this is what works for my skin. I spot the concealer where I need it, I blend it out, and then I put on my foundation. Well, and then I put on my primer and my foundation, and then everything else. A lot of people put on the foundation, and then they put on the concealer and set it. And I find that with this foundation, it works a lot better to put the foundation on first, and then to dab your concealer in the little spots you need it, and do it that way. It doesn't layer over concealer very well. And that is my pattern, to put on my concealer first and then, you know, bring the whole facial tone in together with my foundation. But I can't do that with this one because where I have the breakouts and all that junk, it'll look really bad. It'll enhance the dryness and it'll just look, well, not so good. Not as good as like the rest of my face would look. So I've been concealing after. The foundation is like, I think it's $34 at Sephora, and that's a really good price for a Sephora foundation. I don't have a problem with that whatsoever. I would suggest though that you get some samples, because you might, there's 40 shades, which is like an overwhelming amount to me. I know that Rihanna wanted everybody to be able to wear this. So she created every kind of shade you can imagine. Neutral, olive, cool, warm. There are more warm shades than there are cool shades. Just like with every other foundation, I am disappointed in that because I am a cool person, so I have to go with either neutral or I have to go way dark and get cool. So I would suggest that you try samples of a couple of colors. Sephora will sample you up to 3 samples at a time. Pick a few colors that you think work well, put it on, use a good primer, wear it throughout the day and see what you think. And then you'll know your shade, if it's too dark, too light, or whatever. And like I bought the lighter shade and now I'm wearing the darker shade, which suits me just fine. This is 260 if I didn't already say it. Had I just gotten samples, I would have probably picked the 260, but I'm not mad at the 210. I'm not mad at it. It's a good tone for me. And actually, it's a better tone than the 260 because the 260 is a little bit yellow for me, but I can work with it. The 210 is my perfect cool shade, but just too light for me. So these are my thoughts. Having worn the Fenty foundation for a couple of weeks, off and on. I'm also been testing the Too Faced Peach foundation. I'm kind of disappointed in that. It goes on brilliantly also. It looks beautiful, but most of the colors are very yellow toned. I'm not yellow toned. Why do they think everyone is yellow toned? Anyway, it's very hard to find a shade match for me, and it doesn't wear throughout the day as beautifully as the Fenty does. It breaks up more on my forehead, and it just comes completely off my nose. So, and I'm not oily. So for me, the choice is clearly the Fenty foundation. I'm so excited for what's coming out in October 13th. I'll insert a picture of what I found on Instagram. Everyone's been asking, does Rihanna have an eyeshadow palette? Well, she will on October 13th, yeah. And there's some lipsticks and some other colors of gloss, and it looks like some liquid eyeliners, and who knows what else. Anyway, that's pretty exciting. So there are my thoughts for a little bit of a follow-up on Fenty Foundation for dry skin, and thanks for watching. If you want to be a belle, either a polar belle or a southern belle, or an Eastern Belle or a Western Belle. Just go ahead and subscribe, hit the thumbs up if you like what you see. If you have any questions or anything that you want to see in my channel in the future, just let me know down below. And thanks for coming. Bye.